What's going on, Star Wars action figure collectors? Welcome back to another special episode. Here we have the rise of Boba Fett from the Clone Wars line. I was able to score this from my local toy shop, and now here I am bringing it to you for an unboxing. Now I'm pretty excited with this vehicle because of the new Jango Fett that we got a couple months ago, or maybe a year ago. I can't even remember how long it's been that he's been out. But you guys can see the box right over here, only at Toys R Us, so you can tell that it's a little bit dated with how long it's been since we've seen that logo. I know they're back in Macy's, but it's not like before, taking those trips to Toys R Us and able to score what you were looking for. What's cool about this bundle, it comes with 2 ships that you're able to fit the Clone Wars line of figures. I'm not sure if you'll be able to fit any vintage collection, but we'll try that out later on in the channel. You do have them here. Now there's 3 figures that are exclusive, and that's Boba Fett in the clone training outfit, I suppose. You can call them Padawans, I guess. You get Bosk in the Clone Wars animation style, and you get R8B7 exclusive. Now mine's a loose. The rubber, I guess, broke, so he's just, moving around. But you do get Mace Windu, you get Anakin, you get a nice little helmet for Mace Windu. He comes armored, and the 2 bounty hunters down here. Now let me show you the box real quick before we go to opening it. Yes, I do open my stuff, so you guys can tell right there. You get the Slave 1 packaging. Old school, back in the day. Now these figures do come with their own stand. Back then Hasbro was gracious enough to give us stands for each, and here's the back of the box. You can pause it right there so you guys can read the bio, but you can see just how big it is. I'm hoping it's as big as a vintage collection Slave 1, if not just maybe a little bit smaller. I'm not quite sure. I don't have one in hand to compare, unfortunately, but we'll see if the Jango, the latest one, fits in there, and we can do our thing with that. It does come with Bosk, Boba, Mace, and Anakin, and the droid that's exclusive to the set. Set opens. Let me move it around. What I do like about the carding, obviously the art between the Jedi Starfighter and the Slave 1, but when you turn it around over here, it lets you know just how big it is. It is 18 inches long, so I doubt the camera can make the gist of it, but you see how big it is going all the way up. Now, I will cut here, and I'm going to open the box. I have not that much space, so right now I'm a little cluttered, so I will cut right back, and I will have the ship out of the box so you guys can check it out along with the figures. All right, peace. Alrighty guys, now I just opened the box. Just show you guys the contents. You do get the 3 figures just like I told you right here. You do get Mace, the little helmet, R8, and Anakin. I wish he was cloth. These figures were a little bit hard to find with cloth, so hopefully I can find a replacement for that. But for now, that's that one set. And then at the bottom, as said before, here is Boba Fett and Bosk. I do love their Clone Wars animation style. I love how they look, so I'll be taking it out. For now, you can see you got Mace Windu's Starfighter, and somewhere along this cardboard, oh, there it is. There's Slave 1. So Slave 1 is at the bottom. I'm going to have to cut some tape over here, and I'll have it right out for you guys. All right? Alrighty, so that's everything out of the box, and you guys can tell that this is not a small ship. Alrighty, now before I start setting it up, they do come in different packs, so you get the wings over here, which I should be opening, because I will be showing it to you guys. Just like the previous Slave ones or Boba Fett's starship, like Disney likes to call it, you do get the side pieces, one for each side. It should tell you which one it is. You see it goes, you got a little arrow right over here. Tells you that that's gotta go in. So I'm gonna assume this is on the right side. Let me bring in the Slave 1 and look at this beauty. My camera does it no justice, but you guys can tell that this is just as big as Boba Fett's starship, but instead of the colorway that you're used to, this is Jango Fett's. This is phenomenal. You do get the ramp, the hidden cargo pieces. Yeah, you lift it up, put something in there, back in. Here comes the escape pod, or I guess any type of cargo that you're gonna bring in there. You could definitely have it in there. You do get your turrets, which I'm gonna assume all the missiles. Yep, here they come. So here's your stands for all the other characters, the bios. Let me open this up so you guys can check this out. The old school dice. Wow, I had so many of these dices from the single packaged Clone Wars figures. This was fantastic. Just to see them back again. Wow, Hasbro, what happened, man? Give these back to us. You know how many of these I need nowadays with all these 3.75 figures that I have? It's insane. Now you do get the missiles. Like I said, these go, well, these two different colorways. So, hold on. Oh, excuse me. Jesus, needed to sneeze. Anyway, this is, where does this go? Up here? Doesn't look like it fits there. These probably go somewhere else. These are probably the ones that go in there. Yeah, there you go. You see, so that flips. The darker gray ones are the ones that fit in there. They're not really that detailed. They're just a gray piece of plastic. Put on the slave one back over here. Do your compartment that opens up so the figures can't stick in there. There's some stickers in there. Huh. That's pretty cool. Yes. Unless this was open, but I mean, this was pretty sealed. Anyway, let me bring in the new Django so you guys can check them out. I do have him posed over here, but let me take out these little turrets, put him out here, and he looks like he's from Camino right now, right? Just hanging out. Oh man, this looks perfect. I am beyond excited to showcase. I know this review is probably going to be like 30 minutes long, how much I'm talking about this, but, and I'm bringing in a figure that's not even in the review. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just you guys can get a good idea. You do get little pegs over here. He fits perfectly. Cannot wait to do toy photography. You can tell a little canopy that I took out earlier. Obviously, this does open just like the other ones, and it does have the same gimmick. I guess the gyro when you flip it. Unfortunately, I don't have that much space, but you guys get the gist. If you do collect these, obviously they are the same. Now this thing is massive. Yeah, just about. Look at that. That's just the bottom, dude. This thing is massive. I can't even fit it on frame. You do get your seismic charges, which is pretty cool. We all love that sound from Attack of the Clones when it was first introduced to us. Got two of them right over here. Pretty sweet. I'm going to assume that these go in the back somewhere. Yeah, so they plug right here. You see that there? You just pop them in there, and there's a button. Oh, whoops. There you go. Yeah. There's a button on the side, unless they hold like that. That's kind of weird to hold. Is that how they hold? I don't think that's how they hold. I mean, they're staying in place. You press the button. There goes your seismic charge. Pew, you know? That amazing sound. However they made it. The wings do pop in here, like I said before. I'm not going to pop them in on camera because I don't have that much space, but you guys get the gist of what's going on. I'm going to cover here. I'm going to jump into the Jedi Starfighter. But before I do that, let me show you guys the little battle cards that you guys used to get over here. Look at that. Bosk, Boba, Anakin, R8, and Mace. Anyone play these back in the day? Back when the MMO was around? I had no idea there was an MMO of Clone Wars. Did you? My girlfriend's brother told me about it. He told me he used to play it, and it was fantastic. So sad that I missed out on it. I also missed out on playing this kind of game. I'd never met anyone that was playing it or collecting these figures back in the day. 2009 was quite a different world, at least for me. You guys get the instruction manual right over here showing you where to put the stickers, the assembly, how it stands. I do wish it came with a stand like the latest ones do. Unfortunately, this one doesn't, so it has to remain on the side until I find one on eBay. Seismic charges right there. Open canopy, flying cargo bay. Get the walkway with the ramp that I always showed you guys, and the detention cell, which is housing somewhere inside over here. And this is the Jedi Starfighter. What I like about the Jedi Starfighter is that it splits in two, and you can have two vehicles in a sense of one. I'll showcase that to you in a little. But you guys do get the sticker set, which I just dropped it over here somewhere. Here it is. Sticker set right over here. Right. I'll assemble that off camera, probably. Now, let me take this out, this ginormous thing, and bring in the Starfighter. You guys can check that out. That is Mace Windu's Starfighter in the Clone Wars. You do get your little ramp over here. Is that a ramp? No, that's a gun. Alright, so how does Mace land? I guess he doesn't. He just... Phew, that's how it lands? Okay, cool. So, no stands for the landing. It's just these little pads over here. Now, when you split it, you just pull it out like that, and it becomes, I guess, an extra wing. Or a little TIE Fighter wing. I like that little TIE Fighter window that it's got going on. It does open up, obviously, because you gotta put in Mace and R8 in there. I will showcase the figures now a little, but just wanted to showcase the vehicles before I move on to the next segment. Right? Not much to say about the Jedi Starfighter. But last but not least are the figures. Now let me start with Boba. This is the old Clone Wars line, so I do expect a good amount of articulation. That's what they gave us back in the day, and that's what I liked about that certain line. Specifically the Palpatine that they made. Dude, that thing was amazing. I just wish it had more articulation in the legs. You see, it doesn't really do a split. Not like nowadays. You get your bend at the knee. You don't get no ankle rocker. Ooh, my bad. But you do get up and down on the ankle. Wrist, you know, moves around. Bend at the elbow. Rotation of the arm. Legs like that. That's pretty good articulation for Boba, I like to say. Let me put him up here in the stand. And voila, this used to be our stands back in the day. Look at that, Hasbro. What happened? Let's open up Bosk over here. And this is one of the best ones out of the pack. Look at that sculpt. He looks amazing. I love the detail. I think Hasbro knocked it out of the park. I do have that rubber band over here that's keeping his gun. I think I'm going to keep it just for now. Just to avoid any entanglements of losing type of things, you know. You do get your bend at the, rotation, bend, swivel. Pretty awesome articulation. Well, a little bit of a, what did you say, articulation on the chest. Little bend right there, yeah. Now this is cool. The legs can go all the way up, all the way back. Bends at the knee, and up and down on the ankle, and the ankle pivot. That's fine. That's cool. Ankle rockers, I guess, came on later on in technology, but this is a pretty cool figure. Let me put him on his stand. If it even wants to go in there. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so that's Bosk in a nutshell. Alright. And let me move on to R8. He wants to come out. He jumped out of his rubber band. I think it broke or it just came loose. I'm not sure what happened here, but this is a pretty cool looking droid. I'm not that into droids. As long as I can fill the scene in the toy photography, this is as much as it matters. You get your R2-D2 standard articulation up and down on the legs. So on the, on the head, a little thing that rotates, little. You can move around, and this in the back, I'm not sure why it opens. Pretty cool. It reveals like a hook type thing. What is that? Are those cuffs? Those look like cuffs. Are those cuffs to you? Or is that a hook? I wonder what that is. Looks like a hook to me. A pretty cool little, I guess, feature to have on the little droid. He doesn't fit on the stand, which I kind of find it funny that they gave us 6 stands for this one figure that doesn't have a peg for it. But yeah, sure, Hasbro, no problem. And let's move on to, let's see, Mace Windu. Whoa. I just sent Mace's sword flying, and I have no idea where in my studio it went, to be completely honest with you. I'm looking around right now, and it's quite funny to me that I probably won't be able to showcase it to you. Let me just stop this real quick. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Alright, I managed to save his sword. So, Mace Windu here is a pretty cool figure. I love that he comes armored, but you see those pieces are a little bit flimsy, especially after all this time being in the package. I don't think they're going to be sticking around much, but you got to keep him in there. Comes with a little Republic symbol. He can bend at the knee. Not really. Nope, no articulation at all. It's just up and down. So that's pretty lame on this general Mace Windu, unfortunately. There is another in the line that has better articulation, but as long as it, you know, bends over here, it's pretty cool. Armored piece. This is the head scope. Left, right. Can rotate. You see, yeah, it's gonna fall there, but it can rotate. It can bend. No bending on the legs, unfortunately, or the ankle. Nothing. Pretty solid purple color. I think that's way too purple, but you know, I mean, it's Clone Wars. I guess it goes with the premise of it, but Mace Windu, unfortunately, he's one of the least good ones out of the pack, at least for me. I wish he came with articulation in the legs, but let me put him on his little stand over here, like so. And we're gonna go to the last, but not least, certainly not least. I mean, you can do a cool pose around here. Where did that piece of armor go? Here it is. Bam. So, there he is, right? That's Mace Windu. And last but not least, we have Anakin Skywalker. He looks fantastic. I love his head sculpt. I think they got the scar and the look real well. See, with this figure, you do get the bend at the knees, so you get the better articulation, at least on Anakin, thankfully. They knew what they were doing there, you know. Ankle up and down, bend at the elbow, rotation at the arm, swivel at the wrist. Head can go up and down, left and right. Yeah, this is a solid one. I like the look. The only gripe is that I wish it came with cloth armor, although this looks great. They did give it a hole there for some reason. So his lightsaber he'll kill peg. Can this one peg? Hold on. That's funny. So it can peg, but you can't remove. Hasbro, did you want us to do this? Like that was your thinking? That was the rational thinking? Yeah, man, you know, Anakin can just hold his saber like that. All right, anyway, you could do that, but don't do that. That's not the way to hold a lightsaber. But he does look great. I mean, for an Anakin, the one that I would like to get is the one that comes with cloth. Obviously, I know I said it before, but I think it's in the Sat pack. And the other battle pack that comes with like some type of alien moth. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even know what it's called. But don't quote me. But here you go. Here are the figures that come in the pack. Tell me what your thoughts are. Do you like them? Do you think they're great? They're worth collecting? I think for me, they are. The start of, for me, collecting the Clone Wars line. Before I forget to mention, this is the Mace Windu helmet that does come with him. Pretty cool detail. I forgot what planet this was that they go on the mission, and it's his battalion, you know, he's commanding, but you can't put the helmet up top right there, and it fits just like that. I think I'm going to leave him like that on my shelf. I love armored Jedis. They think they look great, you know. Then again, these were the figures, guys. I will cut right now, back again to the Slave one, so you guys can check out one final look about it, and that'll be it. I know this review was super duper duper long. Sorry for that, but, you know, pretty big set. What can you do? Alrighty, everyone. Let's take one last look, right? So here we have Jango with a completely assembled Slave 1. And I think it just looks fantastic. I'm having a little trouble keeping these down. I'm not sure if it's the age or I probably put them in incorrectly. Probably that. But once these flaps are, you know, straight, the canopy and the Slave 1 goes to a 90-degree angle as well, just keeping straight. Same thing as the Slave 1 of the Starship, or, you know, however what they want to call it. But look at the scale, man. This looks fantastic. I think Jango Fett right next to it looks proportionate, you know. I think it's not tiny, nor is it out of scale either. So you can, if you do toy photography, this would be a great thing to add to your collection. Let me move this aside. I did find out that these extra missiles are the ones that go in the Starfighter, so obviously, you know, oh, they go in there, and this one goes in there. Just be careful, don't shoot, you know, if you get this set, don't shoot your mom or your girlfriend or anybody. Is this the one that goes in the bottom? Because this did come with 3 missiles. Voila. So that one is the one that goes to the bottom right over here. I'm not sure why that one fit up there. Am I missing a missile? Not sure where I put it. Probably dropped it in the middle of all this. I am very limited with space. But Anyway, guys, tell me if you liked the review. I know it was a long one. Sorry to make it so long, but here you have the figures one more time so you guys can see it in front of the Slave One from the Rise of Boba Fett. Now, I remember these episodes, him following Aurra Sing, Bosk in the Clone Wars, and putting his name out there. I really do wish we would have gotten the episode of him and Cad Bane, the duel, but that would have meant that Cad Bane would have died and he wouldn't have been part of the new series now of Book of Boba Fett. So, unfortunately, that didn't happen. But anyway, guys, thanks for sticking around and enjoying the review. This was The Rise of Boba Fett. May the Force be with you, and see you guys until the next one, alright? Bye.